This video is sponsored by Eric's Gear. Go to www.ericsgear.com and at Eric's Gear on Instagram. They have the best combat clothing. Make sure you give them a go, give them a follow, give them a subscribe. And a massive thank you to Azam here. Thanks to him, we've come to Hazev Restaurant. They've sorted us out with the best hospitality. If you're in London or Canary Wharf, make sure you come down and get some good food because it looks unbelievable. Thank you, Azam, brother.
Turkish food, yeah?
There we go.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you. We're back with a familiar face. The problem, Chris Duncan, who, in my opinion, Chris, I think you've got the craziest knockout in Contender Series history.
The best finish in the UFC.
Yeah.
The best finish in the Contender Series for sure.
And it would probably be up there in the UFC. Like if that was a UFC fight, that would be like one of the maddest comebacks in UFC history.
That would be 50k.
Oh yeah, easily.
I thought the UFC were going to message me and say we're just going to slide you a wee, but they never.
No, never.
I'm going to call Sean Shelby on that one.
Your UFC debuts this weekend. What's the feeling like?
Fucking man, I feel pretty relaxed. Like everything's happening pretty smooth. My fight camp was smooth. Had a wee injury, but like got over it really quickly. Came here and told you about obviously my weight's fine. You know, just ready to get it off now and feel in the moment. You know, seen my opponent a couple of times. He seems like shifty. Stood in the elevator with him again this morning. He's like shifty and it's just like chill, man. I'm not going to fight you now. But yeah, it's good, man. It feels I'm supposed to be here. That's the thing, you know. You've
had the whole experience straight away. You're fighting on the biggest card in UK MMA history. You've got the Contender Series crew following you around. Has it set in that you're a UFC fighter yet, or do you think you'll wait till Saturday?
Yeah, it's definitely set in now. It didn't when I was at home and I was just finished my contract. Then it was, how does it feel? It hadn't really set in yet, but now that I've done the preparation, it's like, all right, okay, now I'm a UFC fighter, you know, it's ready to go. And everybody's like, to say you need to pinch yourself, and that sometimes I do, but I'm meant and bred for this. It's just all my days since I started MMA in 2014. That's been my goal, is to be in the UFC. So now I've completed that goal. I've got new goals and new standards to meet.
Does it almost feel like, because you're meant to be here, like this is just another day almost?
I think it's another fight show, and they all mean just as much. My first amateur fight means the exact same as what this does. I'm life or death, man. It's like all in. That's what you've seen the way I fight. It's fucking stupid, but sometimes, but like it is what it is, and that's what's going to mould my career into. Like the guy in the card that I look up to massively, he's probably my favourite fighter now, Justin Gaethje. But the only reason why he's my favourite fighter is because Donald Cerrone's left. So I've got to pick somebody that's obviously on the roster. So to be on a card with him and compete for that 50k, it's going to be a dream come true. If I beat Justin Gaethje to the 50k, that's going to be a goal set, you know.
You've gone to ATT again for another camp.
Yep.
The second time that you've gone?
This is my third time.
Third time.
First time was in 2019. I had I was 4-0, no, I was 3-0 as a professional. And I had a fight on Pancrase in Japan, but that pulled out. The guy broke his leg or something. And then I went back for my Contender Series shot this time around, and then now my pro debut, my UFC debut. Not my pro debut.
What's been the difference this time compared to the other two trips? I feel like, have you been more into the team more so? Because
yeah.
From what I've heard of ATT, is it's a massive gym with loads of fighters, and sometimes when you're just going in for one camp, maybe not so much that you don't get the attention, but the fact that you've gone there a few times now, was there more of a familiar face?
Yeah, you need to prove yourself when you go there. You can't just be, like, to be honest with you, when I first went there, it was a little bit like that, in the sense that you just kind of, like, fit between the lines and kind of in with the group. But that's where you have to start off with. Fighters are pretty selfish in that sense, so they want all the attention straight away. And after, like, it was my last camp, yeah, from Contender Series. I did a lot of training, and I did a lot of heavy sparring, and it was a lot of the coaches took an eye to me and kind of wanted to take me under their wing. So I earned that spot, and I earned being a good training partner. So now I'm reaping the rewards of, like, obviously getting the good coaching and training. But the biggest difference this time around was I had Mike Brown in my ear. So for instance, like I'm always the guy to do more. This time around, like Mike says to me, he's like, right Chris, you're going to spar this guy, you're doing 3 rounds today. So in my head I go, right, I've got 3 rounds, and then I push myself for those 3, and then I leave, and I've got plenty left in the tank. Whereas previously I would do 3 rounds and then do another 2 on top of that, because I feel like I'm getting extra work in, and then I get injured or I get cut, you know. So having Mike Brown to say, no, that's you done for today, mate. At the time I was a bit pissed off, but I really do feel like there's loads left in the tank. And the analogy that I try and use now, and trying to tell people why I feel this has been beneficial, is that a marathon runner doesn't run the marathon before he does it. So why would you do 5 rounds when you're only going to go do 3? So I've got a good feel for these 3 rounds, and I know how hard I can push myself. So 15 minutes of my life, it's going to change it, you know.
I think with fighters, that's just a general thing though, don't they? It's just, you never know when to stop, kind of. It's just, but I think it just becomes it's the mentality of the guys. You know, we always want to fucking go all guns blazing, and we never know. And that's how, like you said, a lot of people get injured. I mean, the experience of Mike Brown, and then also training with Grant Dawson and Jorge, that must bring so much confidence to your team and to your performance on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. Like obviously, like when you're over in that gym, you don't win every round, which is very important for your progress. So when you do win every round, you're like, oh shit, here we go, this is all coming together. It's like, you have good and bad days sparring, so like say Monday I had a shit wrestling day, and then Tuesday I'd be sparring, and I'm like, fucking hell man, I'm on fire. And then Wednesday hits you right back, it's like you're back to grappling, you get your arse handed to you, and then Thursday again sparring, and you get your arse handed to you, and then you get grappling on Friday, and then you do really well, you're like, what's going on? But it's just the level of competition. Like, I remember my rounds for one day was Grant Dawson, we drilled together, then I had round 1 and round 2 with him. Then I had Moicano for round 3. Then I had like Thiago Moses for round 4, and then I had Jorge Masvidal for round 5. It's just like, what the fuck? Or then I had like Yaroslav from the Bellator 170 champ. It's just like, Jesus Christ, give me a break. And then you go with, I'm not saying that any lesser of a person, but you know, go somebody that's maybe not as well versed or as much competition ready as them. You go, this is what it feels like now, you know, this is where I'm at, you know. So the level builds you, and like having like Grant Dawson hanging on your back for a full round, it gets you tough and it gets you good at defense, and that's also important to work on.
The experience of training with these guys that are at the top of the game, what do you think that brings to your performance Saturday? Because Morales, you know, he's been in the UFC for a little bit, had an all right start to his career, but you know, nowhere near the level of these guys that you're training with.
Yeah, I think you're a product of your own environment, and I don't want to speak ill about Omar, but Omar's changed gyms. I've recently, obviously you spy on him through Instagram and stuff like that. I've seen he's moved from Killcliff at Henry Hoofs to a gym called Goatshed, and I don't think that's the right move. I think he's not getting the attention what he needed in Killcliff, and he's went to Goatshed, and there's not a guy in there that beat me, you know. So he's probably going there to feel comfortable, and I'm the most uncomfortable motherfucker you want to be in front of, you know. So I don't want to talk ill about him, but I just think that's a really stupid move. But like, time will tell, you know. It's just, I've done everything. Like if I said to you right now, like if you said to me, have you done anything in this camp that you feel like you haven't? Sorry, let me reword that. What could you have done better in this camp? And I was like, there is absolutely nothing. I've ticked all the boxes, I've done everything right, I spent money, I got massage, which I don't usually do. I got meals from Icon, the UFC PI have been helping me with my nutrition along with Carol. My training's been right because Mike's been there. Like, there's nothing. Didn't have cheat meal. In fact, that's a lie. I had one meal, but it was sushi. You know,
still not bad for you.
It's not bad, you know. But I know like where my calories need to be. So like I'm on it, you know. And like, if whatever happens, which is not going to happen, if I ever lost to this, it's not out of not trying. you know. So it's not going to happen though. It just can't happen. And just ready to get in there now.
Your fiance and your daughter, among other friends, are going to be there for your debut on Saturday.
Yeah.
I think when we spoke for our podcast a few months ago, you said to me that the biggest thing that you found was a challenge when you were at home was being able to switch off from being a killer and then going on being a family man. Has going away, even though you're sacrificing that time away from your family, do you think you need that time to
100%,
get in that space?
100%, mate. Like, something as silly as like, Laura will be getting ready. Like when I was weight cutting last week, so I was taking I didn't do it all, but I certainly did a little bit to try and help out. Like make my daughter some porridge in the morning. Like you forget, you're just like making it up, and then you put a little bit of jam in, a little bit of peanut butter, and then you put the spoon in your mouth to clean it. You can't do that. Like and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, spitting it into the bin, you know. And then like, daughter's up in the middle of the night 3-4 times. You know, it's just not what you need. So yeah, going away and sacrificing that little bit of time. Like imagine what I can do when I've got thousands of pounds in the bank. My daughter wants to go away to college, or I'm doing it like for me, but initially like what's mine is my girlfriend's, and what my girlfriend's and mine is also my daughter's. So we're just like a big family, and everything that I do from now on is for them, you know. And this is like, mate, I'm still working. Like people don't realise, like it's difficult to kind of juggle it all. But this has been the first fight camp that I've managed to go away for 10 weeks and solely work on just training itself. I've had a couple of good sponsors jump on board as well, so that's been great and great help.
Chris Duncan, the main man making his debut. Make sure you tune in. BT Sport, 50k is going to be handed to him, I'm sure of it. Thank you for your time, mate.
No problem, mate. Thank you.
My guy.
Thank you.